Spikes have come a long way since the creation of Geometry Dash. In the beginning, they were relatively straightforward, but as the levels became increasingly harder, so did the difficulty of spikes. In Stereo Madness, the first level of this game, the spikes are very simple, giving you enough time to react, making the punishment of slow reactions not severe. However, later in the level we are met with the two hardest spikes of the level. These are the notorious triple spikes, which are hard for all beginner players. They demand faster reflexes, making them a real test for new players. As you progress through the main levels, the spikes become increasingly harder and harder, leading to a more frequent appearance of triple spikes. In fact, one guy liked triple spikes so much he made an entire level where you just jump over triple spikes 50 times in a row. Spike is undoubtedly an iconic symbol of this game, and without them, the game wouldn't feel the same. But what if I told you the spikes as you know them are all a lie? The entire time the hitbox you see is not even real. Let me explain. You see, the developer of this game, Top, is quite an interesting person. He simply absolutely hates making normal decisions. For example, instead of making small, regular updates like every other sane developer would, he tries to update the game once in a lifetime and add every single thing possible into the game. And so, once upon a time when Robert Topala was making this jumping game, he was creating hitboxes, and he decided, why not make these the hitboxes? Why? Well, I don't know, it is a part of the game now, so get used to it. These hitboxes are responsible for some very interesting gameplay mechanics. They are a bit misleading, so that's why sometimes it can seem like you're magically going through spikes. Because of them, some things that look fairly hard are actually much easier than they really look. If you've been following this game for a while now, you know that there's people who always try to make the game harder, and player called Zonk is one of them. Him being the number one player right now, he decided to verify this level called Avernus. As of making this video, it is the second most hardest level on the demon list. And even though the level is decent looking, Avernus is a very controversial level in the community, to the point that nobody is even trying to make progress on it. Everyone is acting like the level doesn't even exist. Same way you are tweeting the subscribe button. And here's the reason why. You see, this level has something called fixed hitboxes. A fixed hitbox is when an invisible spike is placed above another to make it more accurate. These are essentially invisible spikes placed above visible ones. And this level utilizes them throughout the entire level. While I am not personally a fan of invisible hitboxes, there is some logic behind it, since it makes the gameplay more realistic as you can't go through spikes anymore. However, it remains very disliked in the community. Firstly, it alternates the entire gameplay, so all the pro players that are already used to the classic hitboxes have to relearn these new hitboxes, and that can be pretty frustrating. Imagine spending a lot of time grinding a game just for someone to change the mechanics in their level. It also creates what's called ghost difficulty. These spikes look identical to every other spike in Geometry Dash. You won't be able to tell that these spikes have a different hitbox. So, for example, if an average viewer that doesn't know about fixed hitboxes comes across Avernus, to him the gameplay might look easier than it actually is, which makes the gameplay even more misleading and confusing.